Yo, what's up guys? Universal Mastery. So what we're doing on today's video is we are talking about the archetype of the moon. So I'm continuing on this archetypal series. So if you want to know a little bit more about the influences, the attributations, and the description of the moon archetype, also connecting it back to the tarot deck, then definitely stay tuned for the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely make sure you go and you check out my Patreon, because on my Patreon I have exclusive content. Okay, so half of that content is going to be geared towards actual practices. I have a few videos where I'm breaking down step-by-step practices of how to get your hands and feet wet with certain types of meditations. One video specifically is how to do an exact invocation. So on that video, I'm performing my own invocation and I'm breaking it down step by step so that you know exactly how to do it. Okay, so I have videos like that on my Patreon. There's probably, I want to say, like 4 videos where it's me showing you how to actually do certain types of occult practices. Then the other half of the videos are going to be geared towards educational entertainment. So that's going to be a video that's very similar to this one. The video is entertaining, but you're also getting a lot of value out of it at the same time. So where you're going to be able to find my Patreon is if you go to the description, you'll click that description, then it'll drop down, you'll see some links. It's going to be that very first link at the top. It literally says my Patreon right next to it. So in order to gain the access to the exclusive content, you have to at least be a tier 2 member or up, tier 2. Okay, so in order to be a tier 2, it literally costs $9.95, and that's a monthly reoccurring payment, but that literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that with the value that is on my Patreon. Okay, and I want to give a special shout out to the top tier members of my Patreon. Their names are going to be mentioned in the parentheses below the link. And as you go up in tiers, the benefits go up as well. I will let you check that out for yourself. Other than that, I'm going right into this video. Let's do it. So this is going to be path 18. So once again, if you are new to this archetypal series, please start at the archetype of the Joker. Okay, it says start here in parentheses, and the reason why is because there I break down the foundation of where I'm getting these archetypes from. It is coming directly from the Kabbalah tree of life. Okay, I'm getting it directly from there. So all of these different archetypes are also connected to the tarot deck, which are directly connected to the different pathways going into the different spheres on the tree of life, which is actually something that I talk about when it comes to the Kabbalah tree of life and the different spheres. I talk about that on my Patreon as well. But this is where I'm getting these archetypes from, and it is extremely important that you understand that. So start once again at the Joker, and then work your way up from path 0, because the Joker is going to be tarot path 0, and work your way up leading up to this one, which is going to be path 18. Okay, so other than that, going right into it, here we go. So path 18, the path of the mystic, the way of the scarab. Okay, the qualities that you're going to be influenced by and that you're going to feel when you are on this pathway, when you're being influenced by the moon archetype, when you're walking down path 18, if you are initiating through the tree of life. These are the qualities that you're going to experience. Illusions, psychic powers, feminine mysteries, subconscious, overcoming fears, tikkun, T-I-K-K-U-N, drugs, dependency and addictions, madness, dreams, biological change, hearing God's voice. Very interesting. Okay, the description. The path connects kingdom, our material world, with eternity. So this is going to be the path on, if we're going to correlate it back to the spheres on the tree, it's going to be connecting it from Malkuth, the sphere kingdom, which is the physical plane, and it's the pathway that runs up from Malkuth all the way up to Netzach. Okay, Netzach being the sphere of victory, eternity. So it's that path 18 connecting those right there. Okay, so once again, the path connects kingdom or material world with the eternity of the divine realm. It is the road of the scarab, the holy beetle of ancient Egypt that rolls the sun back into the sky every dawn. Interesting. Here we encounter the threshold that joins the spiritual with the earthly. Focus on using the material to enhance the spiritual, donations and philanthropic work, as well as on using the spiritual to increase the material, creative visualization. The subconscious and psychic energies reward those on this journey. The sensitive and imaginative on this road often channel information from higher dimensions. This material path can be difficult, but those who dare it are often able to open new worlds for themselves and others. Okay, affirmation. It is in the darkest moment that light shines forth. I am reconnecting to the great mother Shishina goddess. I know that by being receptive and open, life will support me and my loved ones. The psalm is, I have called with my whole heart. Answer me, O Lord. The astrological aspect is going to be Pisces, okay? And the tarot card is once again obviously the moon. So here we go. We're going to go on a little bit of a description of the moon tarot. So the moon connects to dreams, meditation, and the ability to see in the darkness of the night. The moon functions as the doorway to the feminine powers and mysteries. Only through love can they be unveiled. Interesting. Challenges. These are the challenges that you're going to experience when you're being influenced by the moon archetype and when you're on this pathway 18. These are the real life, real challenges that you will feel internally and you will see externally. Okay? Here we go. The challenges: illusions, wrong turns, gullibility, dependency, a lack of limits and boundaries, losing yourself and others, addictions, escapism, alcohol, and drugs. And we see a lot of that. We see a lot of that in our today's society. A lot of people are being, you could say, negatively impacted by this influence or this archetype or this energy of the moon, because a lot of people are ignorant to learning how to control or learning how to integrate that energy. So people will a lot of times turn to other things to try and escape. They turn to drugs and they turn to hanging out with people that are no good for them to try and escape the emotions that they feel. But really the moon, what you want to do is you want to feel it out. You want to embrace it. You want to integrate those emotions and those feelings and those characteristics and those attributes so that it can become a part of you, and that darkness from the moon can turn into a dark light so that it can shine. There is such thing as black light, okay? Especially if you're walking the path, especially if you're walking the darker path, meaning you work with dark spirits. They will teach you there is such thing as a black flame. There is a dark light. Okay, so the Hebrew letter is Kaf, and this means back of the head. Scientists have discovered that this part of the brain regulates dreaming and sleep. The letter A, a glyph that looks like the back of the head and the spinal cord, emphasizes the need for meditation, dreaming, and spiritual practice. Interesting. So the letter, a glyph that looks like the back of the head and the spinal cord, emphasizes the need for meditation, dreaming, and spiritual practice. Okay. Very interesting. Okay, so now let me look. Let me see. Okay. All right, so I remember when I was going through this sphere, or going through this pathway myself in real life, and I was at Equinox, and I was with my friends, One of my friends from back home had come down to live in Miami, and we connected, and there's a whole story to that. I'm not going to get into it, but we ended up doing some rituals together. We did some powerful rituals because I was really, I had initiated myself into the clip-off, which is the reverse side of the tree. It is the shadow aspect of the tree, you could say, the darker side of the tree. And my friend had come down, and I was in a state of mind where I was wanting to do all kinds of spiritual practices. I was being influenced by these archetypes, and just the initiation itself was influencing me to want to do all kinds of different rituals and unlock different things within myself. And we did a ritual to a spirit named Lilith, and it was, Lilith, if you don't know, is a feminine spirit. She's a dark mother. She's a dark, feminine, sexual type of spirit. And we did that. And I remember after we did that ritual, it was there's a whole story to that. I'm not going to go into it now, but we did the ritual. It was crazy. And then I go to work the next day, and I remember standing at Equinox, and my mind just blew. Like, I had this insane realization of how people operate and why there's the masses, why most people are operating on a lower frequency. And it's like I just tapped into it. I just saw how, like, the frequency that most people are on. I saw it very clearly. I just saw, like, most people are choosing by their actions, by their mindset, by what they're externally being told to believe. They're agreeing and they're accepting to that, and therefore it's tapping them in to this lower vibration, which is, like, you can almost say, like a program, which is destined for mediocrity. If you are tapped into that state, if you're tapped into that frequency, that vibration, the highest you can go in life is mediocre. And I saw it. And then, I could also see if someone was outside of that, if someone had broken out of those, you could say, those constraints or those restrictions, and was their own kind of person, meaning they had free will. They could go their own direction if they wanted. And that was, I could see that from an energetic standpoint. But that's pretty much the point that I was saying. Like, I did this feminine type of ritual that was very geared towards my psychic senses and my intuition and my ability to read energy. And it hit me while I was at work, and I just saw most of the people at the gym were just tapped into this low vibration frequency. And there's levels to it. Okay, there's like really low, then there's low, then there's mediocre, and then whatever. And most of these people at Equinox were on this, like, mediocre level. And yeah, and it was what it was. I saw it. It was very interesting. It was very psychic of me to tap into that. But that was correlated to this pathway. And then I also remember I had an extremely vivid dream. I did another type of ritual to another spirit named Azazel. This was during this time, and this one was geared towards me having a very dreamlike experience. This was geared towards me having a crazy dream. I didn't even know how it was going to manifest, but all I knew is I was going to do this ritual and I was going to see what was going to happen. And I ended up coming to full consciousness in my dream. So I had fallen asleep that night, and I had come fully awake. I mean fully. I've never experienced that before, where I was in control of my astral body. I was in my dream moving like I was in real life. It was unbelievable. And I was able to do psychic things. I was moving shit with my hands. That was a crazy experience. And that was also during this pathway. Because this, once again, this pathway has a lot to do with the dreams and things in that nature. And I remember when I was doing that ritual, it was at nighttime, and the moon was really big, and it was in the sky as well. So it's the archetype. It was the influence of the moon. And I was also, during this pathway, I was also introduced to a drug called kratom and kava. I remember I had ran into a certain person that, was cool at Equinox, and we hung out a little bit. And he introduced me to kratom and kava. He took me to my first kratom and kava bar, and I got to see that for the first time, and that was cool. And I got to experience that. So that's how drugs can get involved. But once again, remember, the negative aspects of this pathway are going to be addiction and escapism through, you know, trying to drown yourself with different types of, you know, different types of things that are not healthy for you. So you've got to be careful about that. So I could have easily been addicted to kratom and kava, and yes, there has been times in my life where I felt like I've been doing it too much, so I had to put it down. I had to like discipline myself very quickly. I had to say, whoa, I'm doing this way too much. Let me put this to the side real quick, and let me be natural. Let me integrate these energies naturally as I can. So yeah, that's that happened. And yeah, I think that pretty much shares, you know, enough to give you an idea of what my experience was like walking down this path. Yeah, it's a very lucid kind of path. It's a very feminine path as well. You're gonna notice a lot of feminine maybe attributes within yourself, and you're gonna notice it in other people as well. So that's where I'm gonna wrap it up. So definitely make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Then come over here, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell right next to it, because I'm posting videos as often as I can. And do not forget to check out the Patreon. Once again, you'll click the description. It's that first link at the very top. I have tons of powerful content on there that you can gain access to for a very cheap price. Then go to the second link below. That's going to take you to my Streamlabs merch page, which is not going to be there for much longer. So there, you know, you can place an order for a Hecate Sigil shirt. They will literally ship your order right to your door, just like as if it was Amazon Prime. Then you go to the third link below. That's going to take you to my Facebook community. Check that out. When you get to the Facebook community, you should see a pinned post there that says private group. You click that, request to join the private group, and I'll add you in. What I do on there is I post extra content in the form of quotes, pictorial quotes, or in the form of written. So definitely make sure you check that out, and I'll add you in. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or night wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video for Path 19. Peace.